evening and welcome to LNTV News Live. 30 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa and beyond. I'm Cecilia Clark, anchoring tonight's edition, and these are the top stories. Chief Justice Francis Copper orders an investigation into complaint raised by defense lawyers in the ongoing impeachment case. Following the just-ended county sitting, Grangeda County Superintendent Carl Farley vows to promote transparency and accountability in the discharge of his duties. Liberian prelate Bishop Edward Kofi calls on young Liberians to practice true love and peace if they should emulate the good examples of the older ones. And in foreign news, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni rallies support to seek re-election. These and many more interesting stories all packaged for your viewing. But let's take a short break to be right back. Thanks for rejoining us. This is LNTV News Live, and I'm Cecilia Clark. We now take our first development. The legal team representing Associate Justice Kabina Janet in the impeachment proceeding has called for the recusal of two lawyers from the legal team representing the House of Representatives. Councillor Arthur Johnson said the two lawyers are conflicted, something he maintained warrants their removal from the case.
In view of these, Council most respectfully praise Your Honor to strike from the records the legal representations of Councillor Abel Saints of the Sherman and Sherman Law Offices and Councillor Sigmund Serena Cephas
For his part, Councillor Serena Cephas, from legal representing the House of Representatives, also accused two lawyers from the petitioners of conflict of interest.
The respondent says, assuming without admitting that Councillor Singh is conflicted, which is not the case, then in that case, Councillor Johnny Momo and Councillor Amara Sharif are also conflicted. Because at the time of the prosecution of the EcoBank case, they were employees and counsel of Sherman and Sherman, and by their role, strangely enough, the father is a standing rule in this jurisdiction that any official of government, who has a contrary view, to the decision, action of any agency of government is at liberty to resign if you so disagree. It's at liberty to resign if you so disagree. It's at liberty to resign if you so disagree. But he agrees, then he must remain within the institution of government and defend and support, remain within the institution of government, defend and support every decision taken by that agency or any agency of government as part of the decision of the government of Liberia.
But in his ruling, Chief Justice Francis Copper called for investigation into the allegations, noting until then, no lawyer is guilty of the accusation.
Before a decision is taken that an individual lawyers accused are guilty, the trial will take note of all of these accusations and counter-accusations and will pass these accusations and counter-accusations onto the Grievance and Ethics Committee for proper investigation. Until full investigation is conducted, it will not be proper to say that any individual lawyer, whether on the side of the movement or on the side of the respondent, is guilty of the accusation to warrant the removal from the trial of this case. Wherefore, we order that the trial be proceeded with hereby so far.
Grangeda County Superintendent Kai Fale has vowed to bring about the much-needed change in the county. According to him, the will of the people of the county will prevail in all necessary changes they so desire will come to reality. Speaking after the end of the just-ended county sitting, Fale noted that his administration will work to ensure that accountability and transparency is the hallmark of activities in the county.
Well, the county has been good. Other people say, when we say we came for a change as an institution, what I'm talking about is leading an institution. And what we say is that those things that happen in the past when we come here as an institution to the party to make sure that we continue that way. And what we will notice is that all of the other entities that have received money from the corporate of the country to the past leadership. And those people, some of them receive, for instance, 2-time budget statement, and they are not making flying shoes for the
At the same time, the president of the Grangeda County Bar Association, Anthony Efanso Zion, said the resolutions recently signed by all delegates are in the interest of the people of Grangeda County. He said, unlike in the past, the county will this time around follow all budget procedures in ensuring that comprehensive expenditure and other related reports are made available to the appropriate authority before the final decisions are made.
We first of all look at the budget law comprehensively. We ensure that the discussions were consistent with the budget law. You will see we have copies of the resolution that will be given. And when you read and you have an opportunity to compare the resolutions of previous cities with this city, you will see that there are very, very stringent provisions provided for in this capacity. One of the things we said is that our observation was that there are many other organizations who were receiving county development funds that were now reporting, were now providing receipts that that we provided, and the delegates agreed in their submission that henceforth any group that receives county money and does not report, does not get any money going forward.
The head of the African Christian Fellowship, International Bishop Edward Kofi, is cautioning Liberians against negative utterances that have the propensity to derail the peace process of the country. Bishop Kofi termed as unhealthy and undemocratic the heated exchanges of word of words being traded among the people, meaning on several local media talk shows. He wants church leaders to unite and explain to the citizens the essence of tolerance and peaceful coexistence.
Our country has changed. Our country was built on Christian principles. But unfortunately, by this time, if you listen to the talk on radios, even our very political system, it looks to me like the war is still on. This time is the war of words, not bullets. And so what I want to say here, by and large, is for our people in Liberia, most especially the church, for us to tune down and let our children, those that are coming up, hear some things from us, actually, that they will not that they will emulate, that are good things. And that's what the church should be.
What some of the good things you're talking about?
Well, good things, moral work, moral life, as well as living for Christ, and in a way that practices true love and peace. But if we are violent in our talk and tearing people apart and those kind of things, it appears as if the civil war is still going on.
Governance Commission former Chairman Amos Sawyer is challenging Liberians to use the Constitution and factual information as reliance to discussing national issues, making presentation at programs for the maiden edition of the Speaker series by the Institute for Constitutional Research, Policy and Strategic Development. Dr. Sawyer urged Liberians to do away with conspiracy theories.
Everybody's a lawyer. Turn on the radio. According to articles, Constitution, this. Huge arguments. People talking off the top of their heads. You know, not really knowing what they're talking about. And then we have a tendency, a strong tendency, following this, to deal or dwell in conspiracy theories. Then I'm saying, you know, he got it. This is, you know, we impugn motives, we engage in conspiracy theories, all because we don't do the research and have the information out there. So this can be dangerous to our peace, you know, and destabilizing to our society.
At the same time, Dr. Sawyer attributed Liberia's problem to lack of implementation in the county.
You know, the big problem of our country is the problem of implementation, you know. And implementation is a researchable problem. The challenges affecting implementation are researchable because they are within our society, within our institutions. So we have to design ways to go. Sometimes, you know, as political scientists, we are prone to talk about, oh, political will. The political will not there. But how do you generate the political will? You know, that is researchable. About the actors, about the context, about the nature of the institutions, about how the programs themselves are laid out. They can tell you, they can define for you or show you what the incentives are for people moving forward with implementation or the disincentives.
For his part, the Institute Executive Director Jala Babu explained the reason behind the Speaker Series.
The Speaker Series is intended to bring together a group of persons that we believe are opinion leaders, leaders in their own line of profession, in their work, so that together we can begin to assess what's happening in our country and how we can help to improve the situation. So the Institute is not an enemy to government, neither do we want to antagonize government in any way. Rather, we are partners to the government, meaning the Institute and the office. And the way we see it is that we want to be a voice, as many of the other voices, for the larger public. What we intend to do here is to see how best we can engage in evidence-based, independent research, such that when our presenters come and speak to us, we can then begin to translate that into leaflets, pamphlets, releases, and what have you, that individuals and institutions can benefit from.
If you just joined us, it's a reminder that you are watching LNTV News Live, and these are the top stories. Chief Justice Francis Copper orders an investigation into complaints raised by defense lawyers in the impeachment case. Following the just ended county sitting, Grand Jida County Superintendent Kai Fale vows to promote transparency and accountability in the discharge of his duty. Liberian prelate Bishop Edward Kofa calls on young people to practice love and peace if they should emulate the good examples of the other ones. And in foreign news, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni rallies support to seek re-election. We take a short break. When we come back, we bring you sports. Please keep tuned.
Good evening and pleasant welcome to the sports, where we start with news that the Confederation of African Football CAF has elected Liberia's Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Andy Kwemi as a member of the CAF's judiciary body. Mr. Kwemi, who is also Senior Vice President of the LFA First Division Club, Watanga FC, will work with other members for 4 years. Mr. Andy Kwemi, who has been serving as CAF March Commissioner since 2012, was elected to the CAF Judiciary Body at the just concluded 40th CAF Ordinary General Assembly held in Casablanca, Morocco. The Watanga FC Senior Vice President will serve the appeal board of the Confederation of African Football CAF until 2022. He was elected alongside Nigeria's Ayu Mustafa as the new president of the CAF Appeals Board and Theodore Sori of Ghana as the vice president. Others that were elected on the CAF Appeal Board alongside Andy Kwemi include Sheikh Sek of Senegal, Shibiri Bai Mustafa of Mauritania, Al Mohamed Ahmed Somalia, Fernandino Raul de Costa of Angola, Aji Kolumani of Chad, and Zamira Bashu of Algeria. Mr. Andy Kwemi has meanwhile commended CAF executives for electing him to that top position. Former Nima United football player Sonny Bordeaux is in search of a new club after parting ways with FS Meta. According to reports, the winger has been linked with several Middle European clubs, particularly in Latvia, and few outside the country after being selected on mutual consent. The 26-year-old was among a host of players released by Metad in January, including his countryman Van der Hammer, who has found light elsewhere in Czech Republic. Dodo is available on the transfer market, which is sparking interest from large numbers of clubs in Latvia, Czech Republic, Malta, Albania, and Lithuania, among others. The youngster will help FS Meta to the 7th place finish in the Latvian league, however managed to score 7 goals. Meanwhile, ex-Barisian Controllers captain Van der Hammer has signed a season contract with SC Zomak FK, a football club in South Czech Republic. It currently plays in the 2nd tiers or the 2nd division of the Czech Republic League. Well, Barisian Controllers will renew its rivalry against rivals Leska FC Sunday when the two teams meet at Antoine Tottenham Stadium in the LFA Super Cup. The game will take place at ATS, and BYC got to the Super Cup after winning the double last season in front of bitter rivals Leska FC. Leska lost to BYC 4-0 in the finals of the LFA Cup. It is not clear as to whether Leska will use that match to avenge that defeat or who allow Barisian Controllers maintain a good record against the Shaping Boys. News elsewhere, Egypt says it will use the Cairo International Stadium, a military venue on the outskirts of the capital, plus the controversial Port Said Stadium, among others, as 6 venues to host the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. The Africa Cup of Nations will come on in June after CAF changed the date and timing of the tournament. 24 teams will compete and the qualifiers will be concluded in March. And in Europe, where the Europe Champions League continued tonight, Atletico Madrid at home to Juventus. It was 0-0 just as we were coming on in the studio, and Schalke 04 also played at home to Manchester City. It was 0-0 as well in that match. That's it for the sports.
Many thanks for rejoining us. More help continues to pour in for victims of the recent Banipie mudslide in Lower Nima County, with the latest coming from Asilamita. The company Wednesday presented several assorted full and non-full items to the special presidential technical team. Receiving the items, the head of the technical team, Internal Affairs Minister Vani Salif, disclosed that besides Asilamita, some businesses have also presented items to the team. Minister Salif thanked the entities for the items and promised it will reach the affected residents of Manipie.
On behalf of the government of Liberia, having been appointed as to chair the technical team, as Emmanuel already put it, we want to work as a committee. We've been in touch with some of the business communities, some of the concessions in the country. Today, the first responder here we have Astromita, who operate in Nimba County, that brought us some food item. Let me just read it to you. Astromita going to be giving us 200 bags of rice, 500 sacks of water, 100 gallons of cooking oil. That would be like 20 different gallons or something. 60 pieces of mattresses and 5 pairs of used clothing. These will be going after the presentation to the site that is in Nimba County. Also, we received from Beer Mountain 300 bags of rice, but they are loading at the port. They're going to be coming. I thought that they would have been here at this time, so we can just do the presentation at the same time. But let me.
Receiving the items, Asilamita Government Relations Superintendent Gus Norling said it was the company's way of identifying with the residents of the affected area.
On behalf of the management and CEO, management and staff of Asilamita and the
upon hearing this news, the tragic loss of life, we felt compelled, especially where the president is constituted a disaster relief team. So as a partner, working with the government, you mentioned we're operating in 3 counties, in Nimba, Pong, and Buchanan. And Tapatadu is a little bit of our concession area, but we're in Nimba, and we should, share similar, concern and interest. So it's against this background that we've come to express to the President, His Excellency, George Manawia, the government and people of Liberia, and also the bereaved families, our deepest sympathy.
The group Platform for Dialogue and Peace has intensified its campaign calling for the enactment of law to ensure the voices of marginalized communities are sufficiently amplified. The bill, codenamed Stand Alone CSDF law, when passed, will allow the people have the right say in the development agenda through the County Social Development Fund. Kennedy Berrien, program manager of the group, noted that it is about time the direct involvement of the people into national issues are highlighted to the court.
This reform law that we're talking about, one key issue that he tried to address is the issue that we had in the previous one, overlap of functions, check and balance one another. So folks in radio land, in TV land, we want to have this reform where the we check and balance power to the people from the community, from the districts, to decide how the revenue funds should be used, what type of projects should come. When that is done, the superintendent with his principal delegates will ensure that those have been implemented. According to the law, they will make quarterly report to the legislature, because the legislature will have an oversight responsibility. So it's not that the lawmakers and the superintendent have been sidelined, but it's about issue about check and balance.
Meanwhile, 3 representatives of the people outlined some key priority issues of Liberians to include youth empowerment and job creation, electricity, road connectivity, and quality education, among others. They spoke to LNTV News Wednesday, beginning with Stephen Laird of District 9, followed by Sarah Joe of District 10, and Sheikh Kamara of District 17, all of Montserrado County.
The issue that has to do with electricity, like in our district, we have many community people are faced with the issue of electricity. And then the next issue could be the connectivity of roads. We have many roads, and they are very bad during the rainy season. We have potholes and other things that requires the free movement of people. So those are the 2 issues that we have.
So in the whole area there is no high school. So you need high school, the elementary, so that it can be extended to junior high. You have space there so that we can extend senior high, because we don't have no senior high in Odes Concordat right there. Besides Peace Island school.
Okay, so it just needs senior high.
And the youth empowerment. The youth are just on a roll off over the place.
As I mentioned, we have a picture that had a youth in the district, and we see women, and then secondly, the quality of education.
And in foreign news, Uganda ruling party has endorsed President Yoweri Museveni as its candidate for the 2021 elections. This means that President Museveni, who came to power in 1986, will be running for a 6th term. We have a report.
Sources that attended the just concluded 5-day retreat of the NRM Central Executive Meeting have told LNTV that the motion to have President Yoweri Museveni endorsed to seek re-election in 2021 as the party's presidential candidate was moved by NRM Chief Whip Ruth Nankabirwa. The source added that all members stood up and supported the motion, and it was unanimously passed to have President Museveni extend his leadership as the party chairman and president. Rogers Mulindwa, the senior manager information, communication and public relations at the NRM Secretariat, issued a statement on the SEC resolutions. Point number 6 reads, to emphatically recommend to the membership of the movement and its organs that His Excellency Yoweri K. Museveni, our leader and the John of the African resistance, continues leading the movement and the state in 2021 and beyond as we eliminate the bottlenecks to transformation.
Well, viewers, on that note, this is how we come to an end of LNTV News Live. But before we go, a recap of the major stories. Chief Justice Francis Copper orders an investigation into complaints raised by defense lawyers in the ongoing impeachment proceeding. Following the just ended county sitting, Grand Jida County Superintendent Carl Farley vows to promote transparency and accountability in the discharge of his duties. Liberian prelate Bishop Edward Kofi calls on young Liberians to practice true love and peace if they should emulate the good examples of other ones. And in foreign news, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni rallies support to seek re-election. Many thanks to the entire news team, that's the production team, for making this May Week edition a success. Many thanks also to you for watching. I'm Cecilia Clark at Anchor. Good night.
Who told you there's nowhere suitable in Liberia for honeymoon? Now, let me introduce to you Corina New Hotel located in Singa on Totwe Boulevard. Corina New Hotel is an area of class and distinction. They have all we need in a honeymoon location with a